Here we are, professional YouTuber. All right, so hello sim racers again. Welcome to the live stream. Sorry for the mess up. As you can understand, I am extremely nervous and stressed out, but I am also so happy to be back to you guys and be able to live streaming again with you. And let's have a look at the mic sound because it's a little bit too loud right now. Okay, that should be better. So what are we doing? What are we going to do tonight? I am very excited to show you the physics changes we did for Assetto Corsa Competizione update and version 1.9. It's going to be released next week, I believe, on Wednesday. And obviously we're going to have the 2023 DLC with all the new content. We are not going to talk anything about the new content tonight and not tomorrow. This is job for your favorite influencers, journalists, official channels, and so on. I will be joining, but only at the release. But today and tonight we are going to talk about the physics update. As you know, in Kuno Simulazioni, we never stop working on the physics aspect, on the physics engine of our titles. Right now, the active title is, of course, Assetto Corsa Competizione, and we keep on doing changes. We try to improve in the best of our knowledge. And so, yeah, here it is, what we have ready for you this time with this pretty big update of the physics engine in Assetto Corsa Competizione. All right, so what do we do? Well, first of all, we have created a specific document for you guys, and I would like to start by showing it to you. So this document is going to be released to you guys together with the update. So you will all have, a fast way to look at the most important part of the physics changes in this new update. And we are going to go through this document tonight, at least for what involves the physics of the Tyre model. And we are going to do some demonstrations, show you the new features, show you how the Tyre model has changed, what this means for your setups, what this means for meta setups, the so-called alien setups, how you can get extra performance from your tires, and so on and so forth. So, without further ado, as they say, let's move on and start looking at the document and demonstrating that on track. Are you ready, guys? Let's go. Right, so tires, most important part, as usual, pressures and temperatures. As you can see already from the document, the pressure range now is wider and it is also lower. Okay, so you don't have to be going at extreme precision to get your tires to 27.6, 27.8 that the previous version was asking for in order to obtain the best possible performance out of your tires. The range is wider now. It's from 26 to 27. And not only there, you can even go a little bit lower, maybe like 25.8 or something, and you go a little bit higher to 27.2 or 3, depending on the situation. The grip that you're going to get from the tires into that range, it's going to be very much optimum, or almost optimum. Obviously, there's going to be small changes, but there are changes that are actually useful to you in order to balance the car better and to have a better response from the tire, depending on what you are asking from the front or the rear axis. So more pressure, it's going to give you better lateral support of the tire, so it's more precision, and it will generate also less heat, so you can use it a little bit to slightly modify the heat generation of the tires. Low pressures are going to give you more flex of the sidewalls, it's going to give you better traction, but also it's going to create movement of the tire, and it's also going to generate heat. Both of those things are important of how much rotation also you are adding to the car or not. And we are going to see that in a moment. The other important thing is that the new tires from Pirelli are also capable of giving better grip in, again, a wider, yes, this is modeled after the DHF tire, so the optimum temperature is somewhere around 70 to 100. You are pushing the limits if you go to 100 and to 70 degrees, so it's better if you stay like between 75 and 95, but the, let's say, the curve of the optimum grip influenced by the temperature is now wider and smoother, so you are not having to deal with big problems if you go for a moment up to 100 degrees. Now, what's important to think about is that the surface temperature is much more dynamic. It was already very dynamic in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but it is even more dynamic than before on the surface flash temperature. Obviously, we don't show you that in real time, but it is important to know. The core temperature is also more stable now. And I would like to show you with a special head-up display in the development build of Assetto Corsa Competizione what that means while you are turning, while you are braking, while you are accelerating, and how that affects the grip of your tire and the movement of the tire. Okay, so let's go in-game. And we're going to use the Audi at Barcelona initially, and we're going to use the Audi because we know that it has a lot of weight at the rear end, so we're gonna use that and try to make the best out of it. So hot stint, classical weather, clear weather, you know, the preset weather at midday, so we know that we're going to find a lot of heat on the asphalt and on the ambient.
This session is about consistency. Try to be fast, but don't.
And that, of course, is going to affect our tires greatly. But let's look with more precision what that means specifically for the surface temperatures. So, aggressive preset, we are going to use it exactly as it is, nothing changes. And we are going to change to a special head-up display that is available only on the development build. Again, I know you guys, would really like to have all the displays in real time of the tire temperatures, of the tire wear, the consumption, all of that stuff. We don't do that, both because it's not realistic to have it in real life, and because we know that sim racers, they are already doing it, but we know that if we give them the possibility, they are going to do it even more, and they are going to you know, drive on the numbers instead of driving by feel. And we want to move the sim racers always as much as possible. We know it's, you know, it's never a battle we can win 100%, but you know, we win something, we lose something. We want you to drive on sensations and on feeling, and then afterwards go and analyze your motex, your replays, and so on. Talk with people that know maybe better than you and teach you, and improve your driving on this aspect, just as the real drivers do as well. Okay, so what are we looking here? So let's see if you can, guys. Unfortunately, my mouse is not working right now, and you cannot see it on screen. That's a little bit unfortunate. Okay, give me a moment, guys. I will double check my mouse and see if I can make it work better for you. I believe it's gonna be possible. So let's see if you can see it now a little bit better. Luca, domani non in italiano ma in settimana possibilmente sì. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's go like this. I think you can see the mouse now. Okay. So, what you're looking at is those three numbers on top of every green rectangle here. Okay. Those three numbers are the inside surface temperature, the mid surface temperature, and the outside surface temperature at the footprint. So at the point that the tire is touching the ground. Okay. First thing to look is that we are already staying stopped to the track, and the tire temperature is not going down by much. So already the heat that the tires dissipate are just not as fast as before. So we've been talking about, I don't know, 5 minutes or something like this, and still the surface temperature still is over 65 degrees. It started at 70 degrees, so it goes down really slowly, which is, you know, more close to real life as well. But anyway, anyhow, we are going to start to doing a lap. I want you guys, I will leave the mouse cursor here, and I want you to always look at the surface temperature and see how fast it goes up and down. Okay. And depending if we are in a turn, if we are in braking, you know, space of the track, if we're just going straight line, just accelerating. And I want also to make a comparison between the surface temperature and the core temperature of the tire. You will see that the core is extremely stable. It goes up slowly, it goes down slowly, while the surface temperatures are extremely dynamic. So let's have a go and see how all of this works together. You can already see how the surface temperature, by just going into this corner, it's already at 96 degrees at the apex of the corner. Okay? So 98 degrees, and now it is going down already. 76 at the outside, 75, braking, and again it goes up 80 degrees, and now it goes down again. The surface temperature is extremely dynamic. Extremely dynamic. Okay? While you can see that the core temperature in the meantime, it still slowly builds up, and it goes to 75 at the rear, 75 at the 78 now at the rear. It just keeps going up and up and up. But the core temperature obviously changes slowly, and this is what affects the chemical properties and also mechanical properties of the inner part of the tire. While the surface temperature, that is why it's also called the flash temperature, is extremely dynamic. It goes up very fast, and it also cools down extremely fast. You can already see how all of it changes. And you can also see how the flexibility of the tire makes the outside part touching the ground through the turns, and the inside part is touching only in the straight line. And so the outside gets cooled down again, and the inside gets heated up during braking, and so on. You see, we have already arrived at 100 degrees of the outside. Barcelona, typical. We are in very hot weather conditions, and Barcelona is known to be very, very bad for your outside tires. Let's do another lap. Nice little power oversteer over there, very controllable, very nice. You can see now again how the outside tire, so the left rear tire on the outside part is now cooling down very, very fast. Already at 75 degrees and coming down. Heated up again up to 100 degrees and now cooling down again. Nice oversteer at the exit on power. Alright, so 115, 110 degrees. Let's stop here. You saw that for a moment the rear tire was at 150 degrees, 110 degrees. So let's go into the garage and see if you can, have a look of what is going on. Okay?
Alright, mate, this session is about
So setup, current setup, and now your readings inside the setup, as you can see, are very close to the surface temperatures. So the 105 degrees that we had at the outside tire at the exit of the last corner is also shown, almost shown here at the last readings. Okay, so what is happening now practically is like when you get your tire and you go with the car inside the pits, you can place the probe into the small little holes that the tire have on the surface. There are some small holes every once in a while in the circumference of the tire, and this is where they can actually measure both the surface if needed or with a laser gun and the core temperature as well. So the core temperature you can see inside the car usually, there's no problem about that, but the surface temperature you can now see it here on the last readings on the tires. Now, why is this important and what you can do with this kind of information? All right. Well, first of all, how the tires generate surface heat in the corner during cornering, it depends a lot on the camber, of course, of the tire. Here's what we did practically. So we thought, okay, as you know, guys, we now have the multi-point collision tire model. We have 5 points that control collision with the ground on the tire model. When those 5 points detect the collision, then they analyze, all the forces that are influencing the tire. We get that to the mathematical equations of the tire model. We get out with a final vector of the force, and that final vector influences the heat generation, the roll, flexing of the tire, rolling resistance, and so on and so forth. And me and the amazing, physics developer that it is, Fernando Barbarossa, my colleague at Kunos, we were thinking about it. At some point we said, well, you know what? Why taking all of that and putting it into a single equation? Why not take every single point and make a tire out of the single point? And so before you had the Assetto Corsa Competizione analyzing 400 times per second 4 tires. Now it's like having 20 tires analyzing, because every single point is creating its own deflection point with the ground, heat generation with the ground, tire wear, and all the other effects that we are doing into our tire model. But every single point now, it's generating that instantly and independently. So what that means? Well, that means that the flexibility of all those points is affected by the pressure, and that flexibility modifies the actual footprint area of the tire. So the footprint area of the tire, the bigger it is, the better, you know, grip you have, the better traction you have, and so on. And I'm reading the chat, you guys are crazy. And all of this stuff is obviously influenced by the pressure, as I said, the camber, the toe. All of that is influencing the footprint of the tire. So what that means, okay? Well, it means that if we go here now and we lower the rear camber to something like 2 degrees, let's exaggerate a little bit to see what is going to happen. So let's lower to 2 degrees, okay? And so let's go out again. Remember, after 2 laps, we ended up with 100 degrees at the outside of the rear tire and 97 degrees at the inside of the rear tire, okay? So let's go in and do another 2 laps and see what is going to happen now. Ah, yes, today is official day, guys, official t-shirt and everything. So, yeah. Now again, let's move also the mouse here. You can see already we had a lot more temperature at the outside and much less temperature at the inside of the tire on the surface, just with 1 turn. So let's see what is going to happen after we complete 1 or 2 laps. Oh, oversteer. Now, some of you might also imagine why there is oversteer. And that is because, obviously, with less camber, the outside of the tire is going to flex even more. And that will make the inside of the tire to raise up. And that means that our footprint is getting smaller. So we have less lateral support. That is not necessarily a bad thing, because you can create a lot of rotation just by altering a little bit the camber at the rear. See, oversteer again. Go on the accelerator and whoa, lots of power oversteer. Look at the outside temperature and the inside temperature of the tire. We're at 121 degrees and 91 degrees on the inside. That's a big difference between now and before, and we're just 1 lap, okay? ...123 degrees. on the outside. At the same point though, every time we arrive at a braking distance, you know, at the brake reference point, our tires are much more, you know, balanced on the temperature from outside to inside. That means that during the straight line, the tire is, you know, touching the ground with a big footprint, and the temperature is balanced from left to right, from outside to inside. So let's go here again and see what happens. Terrible driving, but that doesn't matter. And again, you see, so with less camber, okay, we had much more temperature on the outside of the tire, and less temperature on the inside of the tire. You see the difference now, even though I didn't make the last corner fast enough, it's more than almost 20 degrees difference from the outside to the inside. So what does that mean practically for you? It means that with the camber, you can now modify how much footprint you're going to have in the straight line and how much footprint you're going to have through the turn. And that also depends if the turn is, you know, a very fast turn that requires a lot of lateral support from the side wall. Okay, it might require more camber, and it might require more pressure as well. But if you go to a low pressure and the low camber, you're gonna have a much softer sidewall, and that is going to make the sidewall move and the whole footprint move, and it's going to give you rotation to the car if that is happening at the rear. So with those with that knowledge in mind, you can modify the actual handling of the car back to front to rear and add or, you know, take out rotation depending what you want. Let's have a couple of extra examples to understand what that means. Okay, so I am going to lower the pressure. So you see the pressure now, it's 27.4. I'm going to lower the pressure to something very low, so that we have low pressure here. Okay, something like that, and see what is going to happen. So now we have less camber and we have less pressure. That makes the whole tire much softer in the sidewalls. There is less support, which means that the whole tire is going to move around a lot, and that means also that your footprint is going to react differently in different situations. So during acceleration and braking, the force that the tire you know, receives from the loading, with a soft sidewall, it's going to make the footprint wider. So it's gonna make you brake better and accelerate better in a straight line. But during long and fast turns, the soft sidewall, it's going to flex the whole tire, and your footprint is going to be smaller, and that means that you are going to get more rotation from the rear in such a situation. So let's go out and see what happens now. I remind you guys, this is the Audi, one of those cars that it was typical, you know, to have power understeer every single time during acceleration, right? In the public version, in the 1.8 version. So let's see now what's going to happen. All right. Okay.
Green line, go, go, go.
Late braking and still almost making the turn because, oh, but then, you see, oversteer. Okay, lost control. We overdid it. So this is an amazing, indication and demonstration of what is going on here. All right. What is going on here is that simply the rear tire didn't give you enough support. The sidewalls were soft, the camber was not enough, so it didn't give us enough support, and I've lost the car. Okay. While this might seem like a bad problem to have, and you don't want that, right? It is also a great opportunity, because by modifying slightly, and not going into such extremes as me right now, modifying slightly the pressure of the tires and the camber of the tires, you can greatly modify the amount of rotation and flex you get from each axis. So you can do it on the front axis and get more support and better grip maybe and more precision. Or you can have, the opposite, have a more, let's say, lazy front end, and that maybe will help you in cars that are extremely precise at the front and extremely fast to change direction, let's say the Porsche. And you can do that at the rear and have a rear that rotates and helps you rotate the whole car, helps you gain more yaw. We've managed to completely go into power oversteer at T3 of Barcelona, one of the most famous turns for consistent power terminal understeer. Okay, and we did the exact opposite. Yes, ABC Dev says, do all these tires updates affect GT4? That's this affects GT3 tires, wet tires, GT4 tires, Challenger tires, everything. Okay. So let me show you actually. Let's go back to the document and show you the second page, which is exactly what we're talking about. So we talk about the pressure range, and we saw how you can modify the pressure to give more or less support from the sidewalls. We talk about the temperature range as well, and I just demonstrate to you guys how dynamic the temperature is on the surface of the tire right now, while the core remains much more stable. And let's see what happens with the camber, the alignment, and the flex. Okay. So here's what's going on. So when we're riding at the straight line, okay, ideally with camber 0 and 0 toe, the heat generation is going to happen from the flex of the tire as it rotates and has lowered the weight of the car, the downforce, whatever. We're going on straight, we have 0 camber, we have 0 toe, and the heat generation affects the whole footprint of the tire. So you're gonna say, for example, you're gonna see something like 90, 90, and 90 degrees, both in outside, mid of the tire and inside of the tire. All right. Now, when we are adding camber, negative camber of the tire, obviously at the straight line, what is happening, okay, is that the inner side of the tire is touching the ground, while the outside of the tire is practically not touching the ground. Okay, especially with radial tires, which have an extremely stiff footprint. They don't flex much in the footprint, so when you give them this kind of camber, so only the inner part of the tire is going to touch the ground. And so you're going to end up, again, this is just an example, with something like 100 degrees here on the inside, 95 degrees at the mid, and 88 degrees at the outside, which is not touching, and it is cooled down by the air, and only by the air. Yes, this document will be released with the update on Wednesday, free for all. You will have that as a mental note. You can, read about it and take care about it, and, take the best advantage from it as much as you want. Now, what happens when we do negative toe? Okay, so we get the negative camber and negative toe. All right. So when we do negative camber at the same, again, degree and negative toe, the tire actually wants to rotate and go to the outside with negative toe. And that means that because it wants to rotate and go to the outside, it's going to flex the inner sidewall and touch even more and has extra friction on the inner side of the tire. So you're gonna get even more heat generation on the inner tire. All right? That's going to mean that the mid of the tire is going to raise and have even less temperature, and the outside tire is going to raise up even more and have even less temperature. So the delta between the inner temperature and the outside temperature is going to be higher. Now, this again is an exaggerated situation, but it is to show you what is going to happen right now. Okay? Now, what is happening when you're going to turn? Well, if you don't have any camber, okay, the tire obviously is going to flex and it's going to touch the ground. The footprint is going to be touching with the outside, so you're going to get a lot of heat on the outside. We just saw that, we've noticed that at Barcelona with very low camber and very low pressures. So flex of the tire, outside touching the ground and making all the grip, and the inside practically almost raising up and almost not touching and having much less grip. So this is not an ideal solution because you're going to have a lot of temperature at the outside and less temperature on the inside. If you have a lot of negative camber and some positive toe, that will create the biggest footprint of the tire, and it will give you a good delta and graduality between the outside temperature, the mid temperature, and the inside temperature. It might not always be as ideal as this, because we saw before at Barcelona, for example, that the outside temperature was reaching anyway 105 degrees, okay? But the more negative camber you have and some positive toe, the more the difference between outside and inside, it's going to be closer, and that will help you, and it also means that you have a big footprint of the tire to the ground. All right? So it is an advantage. Again, the numbers will vary a lot depending on the track surface, the ambient surface, how you are pushing the tires, the pressure you have, how long is the turn, and so on and so forth. If you're using negative camber and negative toe, the already very heat up on the straight line inside is going to still be heated, and the inside is going to raise and the outside will remain very cold at the initial part of the turning. That means that while you are going into the turn with negative toe now, you are going to get more instability because of that, and your grip is not going to be ideal, because you're going to have a big delta between inside and outside. Okay, and I would like to demonstrate that to you and show you also what difference it is. The difference is not amazing, it's not, you know, night and day, but there is a difference, and we will talk about also how this is going to affect your tires later in a longer stint. All right, so let's go in game again and see about that. So I would like to show you this at Monza in a hot stint, because it's going to be very easy to demonstrate. So let's go at Monza. Same car, same conditions. Okay. Thank you for the follow, Kev.
Consistency. Try to be fast, but don't push it too much over the limit.
All right, so we're going to go at the aggressive setup, and we're going to go full crazy negative toe and all the negative camber that we can get. All right? And let's see what is going to happen. So what we're going to do now is we're going from the hot stint, which is before the parabolica. We're going to do the whole parabolica, the whole start-finish straight line, and at the point of the braking reference point, we're going to hit ESC and come back and see what happens, and take note of the inside, outside, and the mid temperature of the surface of the tires. All right? So let's have a look at that. Go drive. Again, this is where I want you to focus, guys. You can see the mouse, I believe. So this is the inside temperature, this is the outside temperature. Let's take note what this is, okay? So look at this and this. Let's go. We're just going to do parabolica and finish, start finish line, not even more laps. You see how much rotation I get now? Okay, so we're already at 98 at the inside and 90, so 99 at the inside. And it still goes up, 100, 75 at the outside, 71, and that's it. So we were at 100 on the inside and 70 on the outside. Let's confirm that.
Alright, this session is about consistency. Try to be fast, but don't push it over the limit.
Yeah, we're at 100 here. You see it's 96, it's always going to be a little bit less. And 70 at the outside. All right? So we were like almost 30 degrees difference. Okay? Now we're going to go with the typical aggressive preset as before. So just 0.1 degree of toe positive. I'm not even going to do something extreme like completely positive to show you the difference. We'll just do it like this and see what happens. All right? So new tires and everything. Let's go back and try again. Okay, again. And let's see what is going to happen. Good rotation, but no problems with stability. Okay, let's see. 95 degrees inside, 96, and that's it, it stopped. 75, 96, 75, 73. So 96 with 73. Okay, you can see how much closer the gap is now. There is not an extreme difference, but it is closer the gap, and you can work it out and make it even better with less camber and so on and so forth. But certainly it's not 100 degrees and 70 degrees. All right? So this is already a good difference. Now, what that means, okay, for you, and what that means for the game and all that stuff. Are the meta setups going to work? Sometimes yes, not always, sometimes yes. What I'm expecting is that if you get this new version and try instantly a meta setup, you're going to get so much rotation that it's going to be almost, you know, not so good to drive. But most importantly, with our testing that we have, and also the eSport drivers are testing right now, the qualifiers for Monza are testing the beta. And what we see is that it brings you to a dead end on the setup strategy, and you don't know what to do, and the car doesn't really react that nicely. It pays much more both in terms of handling and how you feel the car and how consistent you can be the car, and possibly even you know, lap times, because we see that they can do the same or even better lap times if instead of going, you know, full negative toe as usual, you keep a somewhat neutral toe around 0, a little bit positive maybe, and you play a little bit with the pressures and the camber, and you get all the rotation that you need and much better options for you to try out. For example, if you go into the setup, okay, and you are in a situation like this, okay, you have no other options. You don't know. I mean, if I tell you, okay, a driver says, I need more rotation, what can I do? There's nothing you can do on the version 1.8, right? That was the fact. You go there and that's it. Nowadays, if you do that, it's not like the car is going to be completely undrivable, all right? But it doesn't feel correct, and the you know, the fast drivers and our testers, the feedback we get is like, honestly, we don't like it. We would like something different. But if you follow the logic that we are giving you on the document that we will be releasing and that you are looking at during this live stream, and you are in a situation like this, okay, you get all the rotation that you need, and you also have a lot of options. So you want a little bit more stability, go up to with the camber, or let the camber like this and even go up a little more with the toe. That will give you more stability and more even surface temperature, which is a big win. And you get also the less camber, the better braking distances as well. You want more rotation? Fine. Go down a little bit to the toe, like that, and go also a little bit lower with the camber, which also will give you even better tire temperatures. So there's a lot of compromise to be made and a lot of rotation to be found or stability to be found, but you have options which you don't have in the other situation. Tomorrow we're going to talk about even the mechanical grip, the dampers and so on, and you will see that we also have many options on that aspect as well, but that we will leave it for tomorrow. So what happens right now is that if you go into a more logical setup, you're going to get better temperatures, you're going to get better consumption of the tires, tire wear, and you're going to get much more alternatives and options to your setup in order to get more or less rotation, more or less stability, more or less traction, and so on. Okay? So caster is the same thing. Caster will give extra camber to the front tires, and it will raise the inside rear tire, so it can give you more rotation inside the turn and more stability at straight line. You can use more caster with less camber at the front, so that you have better, you know, braking distances and you know, better also, and the same rotation, for example. So you know, you can work this way. Let's have a go, by the way. Let's see if we can show you. So let's go full toe like this and like that, you know, the usual stuff. And let's go and do just the parabolica and the braking zone. Okay. So Crashtrot says, can you tell us what the overall theory behind all the physics changes are? I've been talking about that since almost 1 hour. You're gonna see it also in the document. I'm not going to repeat it, of course, again, but you know, you can watch again the live stream without problems. It's all in there. So the first thing you're gonna notice is that with a lot of negative toe at the front, your steering wheel is also going to be a lot more imprecise and damp, let's say, in force feedback. And probably you don't want that. You see, not much is happening right now with lots of negative. You see, I'm moving the steering wheel, not much is happening. Let's see the braking distances, 150 degrees. Almost did it, okay. That's good. Now, let's go back. That was all with cold tires and everything. So now we're gonna do something more adequate, maybe for Monza. Maybe I'm overdoing that, but not so much. I mean, in the end, let's go to something like this. And let's go to something like that. Okay. Actually, I would love to show you with more positive toe at the front, but okay, let's just make it as it is now. So as you can see, the rotation is still good. I can even go to the inside of the turn like that, no problems. Car also reacts somewhat better. I mean, it's not night and day, but you can see there is some reaction here. And you can feel it. This is something that I cannot show you, but you can feel it a little bit better on the first feedback. Oh, I'm already stopped, you see? So this was just, you know, just get out of the parabolica, still cold tires and everything, but still everything works. So, what is all this about? There are options now. There are many things you can do, different things that you can do. Okay, I'm not telling you, you know, 3.4 is going to be perfect. Far from it, or 3 negative camber is going to be perfect. No, but there are options, and the options give you results. You give you different things. All right. So, what all this brings us? Let's see also the document how the extra flexibility gives you rotation. Okay. So, if we go here. Okay, next page. So how you generate more rotation from more flex. Now, we were always trying to give to Assetto Corsa Competizione extra front, you know, grip, lateral grip reaction. Sorry. Why is that? Because we were always having understeer issues in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and we're trying to find out what is going on with the front. Well, it turns out that we arrive at a level that we couldn't give any extra, you know, grip at the front. It wouldn't be realistic, and we're not here to do this kind of job. So, turns out that we found out that the problem was not actually at the front, but the problem was actually at the rear end. And it turns out that the rear tires weren't generating enough slide slip angle, lateral slip, and they were not flexing enough when the car was turning at the edge of the lateral grip. So, when now you are giving less camber and less pressures of the tire, what you are provoking is extra flex. Okay, extra flex and extra slip angle. That means that the tire moves with the whole body, of course, because the body of the whole car is attached to the tire, obviously. It moves to the outside, so the rear end moves to the outside. Okay, it's just, you know, millimeters, just 1 degree extra, 1 degree extra of slip angle at the rear. But that degree extra, it is a little bit exaggerated so that you can see the difference, but that degree extra, it is what provokes the car to gain more yaw rotation and to point the front end inside the turn and the outside, you know, just slightly sliding around the whole turn. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Let's go maybe again back to Barcelona maybe and have a look at that. Oops. So what you're doing actually with different choices of camber and pressures at the rear or at the front tire is letting the car having more yaw rotation. Okay, let's go to Hungaroring. It's been a while. Yeah, you can see the old Porsche Barcelona, sure.
Alright mate, this session is about consistency. Try to be fast, but don't push it too
So,
much.
aggressive setup. Let's give it a little bit less camber at the rear, not much, you know, 32. Let's lower by 1 psi the tires at the rear and at the front. Okay, and let's try out.
Low tire pressure, stay clear of the curves.
You see at the acceleration how the car reacts and already wants to turn. let's heat up the tires a little bit so that the pressures arrive at a good point around 26, 27. Look how much extra rotation we gain at the exit. I don't even have to turn my steering wheel much. I'm even too slow here. Rotation at the exit. And let's go. Look at that. Whoa, too much. See, extra rotation just from acceleration, and that is with the aggressive setup. Nothing has been changed. Nice rotation over there. See all that rotation? Even too much. Look at how easily it goes into the turn and just rotates and gets out of the turn. See, I got a little bit of understeer, no problems, go on the accelerator, and there you have it. Rotation and get out of the corner again. Tires are also going up to heat now, so they react even better. And off we go. Right, so let me show you in the replay what I mean by the front end, you know, following the line and the rear end helping the car to rotate, okay? So let's go outside like this, and I believe this is quite significant visual. You can see already how the car is pointed to the entry of the turn. You see? So the front end is at the edge of the curb here, and the rear end is slightly outside. And the car is still rotating, all right? So look at this. You see? Continuously doing so. Let's do that slowly. We are a little bit far behind. So let's go slowly here. Look at that. Front end following the line, rear end helping with the rotation. Okay? And I am on acceleration right now, you see? I'm accelerating. So front end now going wide because I'm releasing the steering wheel, and the rear end still helps with the rotation. Okay? So this is what we were trying to achieve. I believe we have a very good implementation right now. Let's go forward to the next turn. And again, you can see here very clearly, sorry. All right, so here we go in, and now look at the front end staying on the edge of the curb here, and the rear end now goes out and rotates. That's, we don't have a reference to see here, so let's go to the next one. Okay, here again, you can see front end following the white line, rear end staying just a little bit, you know, outside. The front end goes in, and look at that, the rear end just, you see how the car is looking, you know, towards the inside of the corner. Let's see that in a super slow motion. Look at that, you see how the rear end just helps a tiny bit. It's not overdone, it's not drifting, it's not wide sliding, it's just the amount needed for the car to stay in a good position, to stay balanced, and to be able to rotate better. All right? Let's see that again in the next corner here, I believe. It's going to be nice. Look at that. You see how it rotates and then stays there. It starts the rotation, stabilizes, and you just keep on turning, and you can control very nicely the whole rotation of the car. Look at this. I'm going to the accelerator, the car rotates, and I can easily get out of the corner. Okay, it's not, again, drifting. It's not wild sliding. If you do it, you're gonna destroy your tires. But it is just a nice feeling, and trust me, guys, you're gonna feel it very, very nicely on the first feedback. Gives you the great amount of you know, information to understand what is going on, and keep the car just on the limit. All right. Nicely move over the curbs over there. And there you have it. Look at this again, how it goes into the turn, and the outside, the rear end steps outside, stays there in nicely balanced, helps the car with the rotation, you see? And then it just grabs, moves ahead, and you move on. Again, same thing. Right? Okay, let's have just another go, because I want to show you. Okay, you say lots of rotation. I don't want that. I want something, you know, more
Try to be fast, but don't push it too much over the limit.
that gives me more support. So what I can do is I can get up here to 1.5. I can give it some extra degrees here and a little bit of extra pressure, like that. All right. So up by 0.3 degrees. Yeah, this is a little bit unbalanced. Okay, and let's try again, one lap, to see what happens. Okay, let's do one more lap and see what happens.
Low tire pressure, stay away from curbs.
You see, instant stability. Much better at the exit, even with the cold tires. So let's heat up everything.
Green line, go, go, go.
See, even a little bit of understeer now. See, understeer. So the rear end is more stable now. The tire doesn't, you know, flexes as much, and so it supports you much better. And we have a hint of understeer. You see, it just goes straight. And that was just with a couple of clicks at the rear alignment. much more stable everywhere. Look at that. Understeer. Okay, now I'm trying to do some power oversteer to make it rotate, but it's not gradual anymore, you see? See how much steering input I need to give in order to make the car rotate, and that makes it also a little bit not neutral anymore. But it also follows in much more stable way the whole turn. So 3 clicks on the pressors and 3 clicks on the toe and 1 click on the camber. Different behavior. This is it. If we're gonna go and watch the replay now on the same situation, okay, let's have a look. Okay, and you can see already, okay, how the front end is following the edge of the curb, right? And the rear end is not that out anymore. It's much closer, you see? There's obviously the difference is, you know, some centimeters, but it is, even by naked eye, you know, it's visibly clear that the rear end just stays here together with the front. It's not at an angle anymore. All right? Okay, so conclusion of all this stuff. Okay, so well, first of all, again, I remind you, this document is going to be released for you guys together with the update 1.9. As usual, the update and all the updates on the BOP that we will talk about, and all the updates on the physics and everything, you know, new libraries 2023 and so on. It's going to be free as usual. And obviously the DLC is going to be paid content, but you can join as usual servers and see the other cars of the DLC even if you don't have it, and race together with your friends that might have got the DLC and you might have not. Typical, you know, Assetto Corsa Competizione stuff. Right, so after all of that, what is going to happen with the so-called meta setups? All right? Sorry. So, meta setups. Are they going to work? Are you going to see them again? Are people going, you know, to appear in front of you as new Jesus and tell you that this meta setup is still the fastest of them all? Yes, probably yes. But, again, in my very humble opinion, the fact that it kinda work doesn't mean anymore that it is the only way, and most importantly the best way, both for the tires, for the longevity of the tires, and all those stuff. Okay, so it's gonna take time, It's gonna take a lot of discussions with myself and the aliens and the people that they are creating setups and so on. We already having those discussions. We gave the beta to some very fast drivers and instantly put in their meta setups, and they were like, hey, it still works, I'm still fast, we started to show them the possibilities, the options. They started to complain that with the meta setup, the car though didn't handle as before and they didn't like it. We started to show them why this is happening and what they can do to find different and alternative solutions. And it seems that they are starting to appreciate that. And they are starting to find different solutions. And even if they have to go to the negative toe, it's going to be by negative 0.05 or negative 0.01, which is fine. Happens in real life sometimes as well. Most importantly, it seems that the era of full, max the slider, minimum that slider and go out and you'll be fast, it seems to have come to an end. Some people, they will keep insisting that this is the way it works, but we are starting to have proof that that's no longer the case, and you need to find more compromises. Okay, it's going to be difficult. Probably there's never going to be one single setup that it is the best, solution. You're going to find probably 2 or 3 different setups that give you similar lap times, which is fantastic, because then you will have to choose between what is the best handling for you and what saves your tires in a better way. All right, so yeah, all of this hopefully is going to happen. Are we going to find new exploits? Maybe, possibly. It's still simulation, and simulation means that we are not reality. And in reality, when you are finding exploits, for example, they are not called exploits. They are called, genius solutions, While in simulation, when you are finding performance from something that doesn't sound correct, it's called exploit. Now, obviously, we had some very specific exploit. Sometimes in simulation development, you find the solution in one day, sometimes in 1 week or 1 month, and sometimes it takes more months to improve and find the solutions. As always at Kunos, we are absolutely committed to make the simulation better, to push the envelope, to improve, to keep, taking the genre in a higher level together with our competitors. Each one pushes the other one. We are trying our best, and we are very, very lucky to also have, our co-founder and CEO Marco, that and of course the 505 guys, which is the big company that owns Kuno Simulazioni, that every time we go out and say, well, you know what, we have new physics and we would like to update a 4 years old title, and always the reply is, well, you know what you're doing, let us know if we can help, go for it. That's an amazing positions we find ourselves, or the developers. We are so lucky to be able to keep on pushing, and I hope you guys are gonna like it. So this is for the tires. Tomorrow we're gonna do suspensions and electronics. We have improvements and new features there as well, and there's a lot of other stuff under the surface of the sim that's going on. My colleagues at Kunos have worked really, really hard, from the developers to the artistic compartment that has done some amazing job, and you will see the new content in the following days, some incredibly detailed models as usual, and even more than usual as always. So what are we going to do now? We still have some time. We're going to do some extra demonstration from people that they ask. So for example, we are going now to take the Porsche, the old Porsche, and find out if it rotates enough or not, if it still has some, situations like, understeer, or if you can make the car rotate. And I will answer also some questions and from you guys from the chat. I know it's a lot to understand and to try. I know it's gonna take time, it's gonna take discussions. I know it's complex, but it is simulation. Otherwise, we will be doing, you know, something arcadish. We're not doing that. The document possibly is going to help you. Our Discord channels, the community Discord channels, there are plenty of very, very intelligent people out there that they are working, creating setups on Assetto Corsa and creating, you know, tutorials and all that stuff. They are going to help you. We are going to support them. Yeah, so let's do it. Okay. All right. So let's pick the old Porsche and see if it rotates. So old Porsche it is. Here it is. Yay, the old Porsche. And let's go to Hungaroring. We were at Hungaroring.
Right, this session is about consistency. Try to be fast.
Aggressive setup. I haven't been, you know, driving the aggressive setup here for a long time, so I don't know what we're gonna find out. Let's see. We're not showing any of the new content today, guys, and not even tomorrow. This is work for all your beloved influencers, streamers, journalists, and so on, and they will be streaming during the update, the release date, and they will be showing you all the new stuff. I will be showing them as well, but I have to respect that they are giving us so much support, so I'm not showing anything new today except the physics improvements and new features and modifications. All right, so let's go in. Okay, understeer. Understeer. Okay, it's a Porsche. It's still a Porsche. Yeah, we're gonna have a party. Good entry, as usual. It's a Porsche. Great traction at the exit, and some understeer at as the speed goes up. Very good entry and understeer now. Understeer. Understeer. It is a Porsche. There is a more subtle, you see, neutral behavior of the car as the pressure goes up. The pressure are a little bit too high right now. But you see, when we go now outside of the pressure envelope, it's not that of a, you know, big deal as before. You're still gonna lose some grip, but it's not that bad. Very, very precise front end right now that the pressures are high. Understeer at the exit. Alright, so that's the situation with the Porsche. Can we change it with just a couple of clicks? I'm pretty sure we can.
Right, this session is about consistency. Try to
So
be fast.
setup.
Over the limit.
Okay, we need to go a little bit lower the front end. We also have the older tires here, I believe, at the front. So let's go lower. Don't remember. Anyway, something like that, I think. So I want to go lower here, 24.5 and 25.1, and then I will go even lower. So like this, and I will lower the camber at the rear. It's a little bit too much. I just want to see what is going to happen.
Low tire pressure, stay away from
Oh, look at that! Power rotation.
Green light, go.
We have power rotation just by changing a little bit the pressures and the camber. Hey. Look at the line here. I can do whatever I want almost. Ui, oversteer at the exit. See how it closes the line? Good traction because, yeah, it's always a Porsche. But it rotates also, so traction, here we go. Just goes. Oversteer at the turn in, Porsche. But then again, look, I could stay at the middle of the road at the exit. You see? So this is an indication of what you can do with the pressures now. Of course, the aero balance, the mechanical balance on the suspension and the aerodynamics play a massive role as always, but you can get a lot of extra fine-tuning, rotation, or not even fine-tuning, but even more, effect from playing with the camber and the pressures, because I remind you again, what it does is affecting how the whole tire flexes and how the footprint of the tire modifies the area of surface, the surface area that is touching the ground, and obviously also the temperatures, the surface temperatures, because of that. So a lot of stuff happening. Let's pick another car. Someone said Mercedes. Absolutely. Mercedes. Nice. Wonderful. I'm gonna have the Cody's team. Yeah, Marcello. We're good on. And Marcello. Yeah. Lele. The rolling resistance has changed. You will find yourself faster on the straight line by 5 to 15 kilometers per hour, depending on the track and the car. But, except maybe a Monza, that we have these very long straights, everywhere else, your lap times will be probably slower by half a second, 1 second, half a second. That's, globally. Alright, so let's have a go of aggressive setup. Nothing, typical stuff, very high downforce track. Let's go, have a go. Rolando, with more camber, you're making the static contact path smaller on the straight. But when you're cornering, depending what kind of corner you're approaching, because of the flex and the roll of the car, it might get bigger or not enough, not big enough, depends. Alright, let's go. Hey, yeah, so much power. The big engine. V8. Listen to that. Wonderful traction on the exit. Great stability. What a car. Eat carbs for breakfast. Isn't that nice? It's like you can feel the tires, you know, digging the ground for traction. Whoops, stutter. What? Fantastic car. It's a pleasure. So sincere and efficient. There you have it. Okay, so let's have a look and see what happens if we lower the camber a little bit.
Right, this session is about consistency. Try to be fast, but don't push it.
So let's go a little bit lower here. Okay, and a little bit lower all the pressures. Like that. That's all. Not touching anything else. Let's go. Look at that, look at the rotation.
Green line, go, go, go.
Yay! Obviously, a setup now that asks more work from your steering inputs and pedal inputs, because the car rotates more, but still very safe, no big deal. And you're probably going to ask for even more rotation, which you can achieve easily with, you know, aero balance or mechanical balance. Wonderful. Yeah, went wide, my bad. And this is all with the default aggressive setup that, as you know, it's still on the safe side. Okay, but it's still a very good base to start with and start experimenting as usual. Is that good, guys? Let's go down to traction control 1. See a little bit of how it works with the new tires, maybe. Oh, too fast. Go! Fantastic. Now, as you can see, I've been, forcing the car way too much, and the pressures at the rear start to climb to the same values that they were before. Why is that? Because obviously, if we go and have a look at the pressures, let me see if I can find out where the key is here. All right, you will see that the outside starts to overheat, and the inside starts to overheat as well. So obviously, at the end, this transforms to core temperature. The core temperature is at 96 now, and that raises the pressure. So that means that the rear tire now has more support, and it doesn't help me with the rotation anymore. So the fact that you have rotation doesn't mean that you have to slide everywhere, and traction control is also going to help you. Let's see if in one lap we can lower a little bit the core temperature by driving properly and having the traction control set to 3. We are already down to 94 core temperature. Just half a lap. Went down by 3 degrees. That's it. In one lap, we've managed to go down by almost 4 degrees on the core temperature, and 0.2 psi, 0.3 psi on the pressure, just by driving properly and having the traction control up to 3. So, not might be the case everywhere, with everyone, but it showcases you how things are changing. Okay, so what else do you want to look at, guys? We still have a little bit of time. Well, if you want brutal sound, my friend, I highly recommend an amazing set of very, high-end headphones or, amplifiers, whatever, and crank it up to 11 and see if that, moves the the room as good as the real Mercedes, because usually what it happens is that we go to the real life race and we hear the thunderous sounds and it is so amazing, and then we go back and oh my god, this is a little bit too loud, and you slowly you put the sound volume down to 2, and now it sounds a little bit meh. It is what it is. All right. Okay. Suspensions, bump stop, stuff like that, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, because we also need to do another live stream tomorrow, same time. So we are going to deal with that tomorrow. We have already talked about negative toe and stuff like that. The clan, don't spam the chat. It's all on the, practically all the live stream was about this. So have a look at the live stream if you just arrived. Okay, can you guys maybe, ban or stop the clan from spamming, because after 10 times that he copy paste the same thing is a little bit let's see. Someone said about you could start around 26.5 and work up or down depending what you need from the tire. The chat goes up so fast, it's a bit difficult for me to follow. Hey Daniel, thank you, buddy. Welcome. What are professional drivers real life saying about the new physics? That's a very nice question, actually, because I have to say a big thank you to the manufacturers for the new cars and the old manufacturers as well, but especially for the new cars. They have been surprisingly and incredibly supportive. They gave to us full access on the data, and they gave to us driving sessions with the actual real drivers. And I can tell you guys that if the esport drivers are never happy with something, real drivers know only complaining. Another very important aspect is that all manufacturers and the guys that they work and they are head of the licensing, sport management compartments and so on, we have to say a big thank you to them, not only us as Kunos, but I believe the whole sim racing community. They are starting to be extremely supportive, and they actually start to understand that it doesn't matter just to have the fastest car in the game. What it matters is to make the car as good and as close to reality, in order to showcase to the sim racers, all this market out there, that the efforts that the manufacturer puts into designing a very good real car for the gentleman drivers, for the professional drivers, and so on, and that the car has to be able to be driven in a realistic way, and has to be able to give you the correct feedback and be enjoyable to drive. They've been extremely insistent on that, and they have been amazingly supportive on that. Real drivers, we work with them, for example, for the new Mercedes that has a lot of under the skin developments and improvements as the real car. The real drivers have been very supportive. The head of the licensing, video gaming and sports manager has been extremely supportive. Same thing and even more with the Ferrari, the Porsche, the Lamborghini. I have really no words. I know that I sound a little bit of the marketing side right now. You know me, guys, or at least the guys that, they are the usuals here, and I always thank them for the support of the community. They know me. I don't do the nice talk. When I have something to say, I say it because it's true and it is a good thing to say. If I have something bad to say, I might not say it at all, and that's it, and just, you know, give you the smirk and just move on. But in this occasion, it has been amazing, it has been a pleasure, it has been very stressful and very tired for a lazy dev like me. But when you have this kind of opportunity, obviously you're not letting it down, you're not letting it go away, and just do your job. You take in all the feedback, all the constructive criticism, all the requests, and you do your best to make them happy, and hopefully make you happy as well, guys, for the moment that you're going to drive it. And if you come back and you say, you know, those cars, those new physics, all the new cars really feel wonderful, and that would be the best compliment for me. What can I say? And for all the development team at Kuno. So hopefully, you know, thanks again, and hopefully you will be very happy to drive them. I don't know what hour is the DLC available. Usually update and DLC come out on the afternoon. Mini-Me is here, guys. Mini-Me is here. Today is official day, so he's watching, and he's watching me very carefully to make sure that I don't do any mistakes. But he's watching silently, just underneath the camera. Everything is getting updated. Everything is getting, you know, better suspension, dampers, simulation, tires. Everything is getting updated. Let me show you a typical GT4, for example. We can have a go on that. Let's take the BMW, right? And go in the hog wiring here.
Alright, this session is about consistency. Try to be fast, but don't push it over the limit.
Yes, you can run the AMR V12 with the DHF tires if this is how the car should be run in the Open Series. Okay, so yeah, typical BMW. Where's your setup? Let's go.
No time pressure, stay clear on the curves.
Acceleration and rotation. Hey.
Green line, go, go, go.
Competitions, I don't know about that, mate. This is for other people to say, and you will hear news from the official channels for that stuff. I'm the boring physics guy. Wait, understeer. I should have started braking sooner, but the tires are also very cold right now. Tires are getting up to temperature, so the car starts to have some grip. The presets are the same, except in rare occasions that we need to update, or going ahead, if we find some presets that are not working as well, please let us know and we'll try our best to update them. Rotation, let's go out, yeah! Not bad, right? No, most of that is also one of the things we're doing at Kunos. The default setups, as I have told you many times, are based on the real car setups. If suddenly they do not work, oh my god, I'm too fast here. If suddenly they do not work, that means we have some big problems. So the changes are more of the qualitative change instead of, you know, quantity changes. You're not going to find out completely different. You are going to find out quality changes in the handling of the car with still the same setups. You might need to double check your pressures now because they might, you know, raise up more, so you might need lower pressures. And if that becomes a big problem, we are going ahead and we're going to change the default presets with better pressure in your initial pressures. But we thought that the default pressures are made for very hot weather, and usually pretty much everyone drives in at least 10 degrees colder weather, and that should put your hot pressures already at the correct window, so, you know, lazy dev and all, and we thought that should be a better compromise for everybody. Look at the rotation I get out of the corners. Hey, καλή ανάσταση, φίλε. No, the game is not at all heavier. All blame Fernando. He's doing some amazing work with the physics. Really top stuff. I'm so happy to be able to collaborate with Fernando Barbarossa. You see the rotation of the exit, guys? Look at that. That's the default aggressive setup of the BMW M4. Not even need all the track width because it just rotates and closes the line. Yep. All right. So, again, I guess that shows, you know, that's a good demonstration, right? Again, if we go and check the replay once more, we are going to see how the car rotates and the rear end steps out and helps you with the rotation. Look at this, now it's going to a bit of understeer, lots of weight at the front end, and now I'm going through the accelerator, front end tucks in, outside, the rear end goes outside and helps you exit the corner on acceleration. Cool? Okay. Wet tires have similar updates to them, as usual. We have already drove with different pressures on the front and the rear. Are new tires destroyed if you overheat? Yes, the more you overheat, the more they wear out. We are trying to do also something extra. It's not ready yet. I'm not so sure we're gonna make it. Yes, I know you're gonna think, but hey, it's just, you know, a couple of days before release. But we're trying, and surely if we manage to do it, the initial let's say implementation is going to be very blunt and conservative. Hey Gob, thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much. Always supporting me. Thank you. So it's going to be very blunt and conservative, but what we are trying to do, as you saw, we are dealing with a lot of delta in temperature between inner and outside. The more negative camber you use and the more negative tow you use, the more the delta is going to be wider, okay, especially on the straights. And so what we're trying to do is add damage to the to the inside of the tire if the delta stays more than 15 or 20 degrees bigger for a longer time. This is something that actually the same Pirelli says, that if you have the tire and it is consistently working over 20 degrees of delta between the inner and the outside temperature, do something on your setup, because it's a very dangerous place to be, and the tires in reality can even delaminate and explode. We don't want to do that, because in reality this happens like a completely random situation and you don't know when it's going to happen, and it just snaps. You might have seen some of the older Lamborghini Huracan cars exploding the rear tires at Misano, for example. We don't want to do that, because it's going to be completely random and we're not actually simulating what is happening inside the tire. It would be impossible to do. But what we're trying to do is, if your tire is traveling in a straight line and it has a lot of delta between inside and outside temperature, that is going to be bad for the structure of the tire. And we want, normally in Assetto Corsa Competizione, you're not getting any tire wear when you're traveling straight, okay, and you don't have any kind of slip pads, or the tire wear is so limited that you practically do not see it. What we want to do is that if you're doing that and you have this kind of delta, then you are getting structure integrity problems, which means more tire wear and more blistering in the tire. And you might not feel it in a qualifying lap or in 5 laps, but if you do a 1 hour stint, then the difference might be something like 0.5 millimeters more tire wear and some blistering against the same situation if you have correct camber and correct tow, and so you don't have this kind of big delta all the time everywhere. So if that happens, this is what we want to do. The technology is already inside. We are working to make it, to balance it out, to make it work better, to find out if there are any issues that we haven't, thought about it. I'm confident. I cannot say I'm completely optimistic that it's going to be out with the first release. It might be out in a couple of weeks or so, in a hotfix, or it might be out after a month. I don't know, but this is what we're trying to do, and I think it's pretty interesting. The initial testing is it's cool. You don't feel it completely, but when you're going into a long stint, and that's why it also takes a lot of time to test it, when you go to a long stint, like the last 15 minutes of the stint, or the last half part of the stint, can't be very troublesome, because your tires are getting worn out much sooner than the rest of the grid, if the rest of the grid is using a better suitable setup for the race. It's the same thing as in real life. In real life, you see that they go into qualifying with as much negative camber as they can, and then they go to the race and they use slightly less negative camber, maybe 3.3, 3.2, 3 degrees, 2.8 degrees at the rear, stuff like that, to make the car faster to the whole stint and not just to the first 10 laps, Let's see. Alessandro Diamante, negative toe is not realistic. Too much of a negative toe shouldn't give the performance advantage that is giving in 1.8. That's not that some teams do not use negative toe occasionally or in some situations or whatever, but they keep it in very small numbers, and usually they don't even think about it because you can gain rotation from other issues. This is what we're trying to do. So we're not going and say, yes, we just limited the negative toe and that's it. Because if we have done so, we would never have found out the limitations of our physics engine. Now we know it, and we're trying to overcome it and make it even more realistic. So you keep it realistic, and if you have a problem, you try to get better. That's what we do. DHF, yeah. The cooling on the surface is quite fast. The warm-up, it depends. The thing is that, in sim racing, you can, abuse a little bit and they will warm up fast, but you're also losing the grip if you do so. That depends how, the actual drivers will take advantage of that. We believe, and what we're seeing here is that you need at least 2 laps and get fast on the 3rd lap with the current tire model. I'm sure that some esport racers will show me and demonstrate me that I'm not correct, and they will probably do the faster lap time at the first lap. We'll see. My thinking is that you need 2 laps to warm up properly, get the pressures where you want them, and finally the tire starts giving what it needs to be, all the grip that it has. Dave, yes, if the outside tire temps are higher, the outside is going to wear separately more and so on, or the inside, and vice versa. Wet tire pressure is pretty much the same. Tire warmers are already simulated. With the GT3 slick tires, you start at any point at 70 degrees, while with the GT4 tires, which tire warmers are prohibited, you start at 25, 30 degrees. So we'll talk about contact physics, suspension, so on tomorrow. Rollout sim, yes, they are in the roadmap later this year for GT2 cars. We have already announced that. Wet tire temperature, the wet tires luckily can be used in a very wide range. They still keep, working from very low temperatures to very high temperatures. Obviously, at very high temperatures, you completely scrub them away and destroy them, but they keep on working. As a matter of fact, at least that's what some real drivers told me, is that if the lap times are still there, even if they are overheating the hell out of the tires, they still stay out and keep on lapping until the lap times go down. How high on which area is the slip angle of the rear tire in the pressure section from 36 to 67? Max, the slip angle should be somewhere around 4.4, 4.3 to 5 at max. It depends a lot, not only on the pressure, but also on the temperature, on the surface of the asphalt, if it's rubber or not, on the load, so how much downforce you have on the car or not, or how heavy the car is. So it depends on all those aspects. It also depends on the actual camber loss of the suspension. So some suspension is going to lose more camber, some suspension is going to even gain camber when rolling. And that obviously is going to affect the footprint and the slip angle of the tire. Fabio, grazie mille. Yes, Patrick, it is pretty much the same before. So low pressures help you in some situations, but watch out because you're gonna lose pressure if you go outside the track. No, rookie, we're not going into that place. All right, so okay, guys. Well, it's almost 8 o'clock. And if I'm not wrong, in our community, we have also a farewell race for 1.8. As usual, excellently organized by Andimon. So if you don't like it, blame Andimon. That's what we do always in our community. So by all means, join our Discord channel, find out how we do races. Our races are made for all range of performance, from the very fast guys to the very slow guys. We do accidents and we learn from that. If you want to come into our Discord server and think you're gonna have the best ever races, that might not be the case, because what we're doing is how we can improve and learn all together to stay on track and get better. Agulex, thank you so much for the support, mate. Thank you, buddy. Next weekend is Monza race weekend, real race weekend of SRO, the first race of the year, and I'll be there, with all the aliens that they will have their own first race of the esports season. Big thanks to Akapa Informatica, the SRO, Fanatec, that they're organizing all together, and big thanks to all the team that participating. Especially my Italian friends and followers. Guys, real racing of GT3 cars is amazing. The tickets usually are very, very affordable. Come in, we will be there all weekend. Come join us, have fun together. We are going to do, if you are plenty of you, I'll be glad to answer any questions I can. I'll be glad to do sort of AMAs, but not, organized AMAs, but like, 5 people came or 10 people came and start asking questions. I'll be there for you guys, and most importantly, I'll be there to have fun. So, if you see me, walking around, stop me, say hi. I'll be glad to meet you in real life and have a chit chat with you. Please don't hit me if you don't like the physics. And yeah, let's have some fun. Again, I remind you, tomorrow, same time, so we start at 18 o'clock Central European Summer Time. We are going to be talking about suspension, dampers, electronics, BOP maybe, collision boxes, all that stuff. See you tomorrow, all right? Thank you so much for joining, guys. Really, really hope you're gonna like this update. Oh boy, I'm so anxious. Okay, see you tomorrow. Good night. Yeah, tomorrow, same time. 18 o'clock, yes, 6 o'clock. Same thing, yeah. Yeah, I know, but, we have to do it again because it's important for the people. If they don't like it, what can I do? We'll do another update or something like that. I hope they like it. Yeah, I will blame Andy as usual, which also made you, so no problem. All right? Okay, cool. Let's do it.